it's me, CheesyPaninie, and today I'm here to show you how I made one of Khaios' Christmas merch, Shino Claws. The year was 2020 and I don't remember what our conversation was, but it had something to do with dogs and putting pants on them for some reason. At some point later that year, Khaios asked me to make a drawing of Shino for Christmas, and I immediately remembered that precious smile Shino made when he was trying on Khaios' pants. I knew I needed to put that face in there somehow. So I went to work, and the first thing I did was break down the image in its basic shape. Once I did, I realized I had no idea what I'm doing and what this is supposed to be and how I'm supposed to even design this. So I scrapped that idea for now and decided to just put Shino's head on the merch design and just remove the rest of the body. My concept was simple. It would be Shino peeking out of a Christmas wreath, wearing a Santa hat and a bow tie. And as a homage to Khaios, I wanted to put a small decoration of his character head in there. I wasn't too happy with how the second version looked, so I recreated it again. The process was a lot quicker the third time around because I already knew exactly how I wanted to decorate it. I've always been a fan of artworks that just have so many different elements and items in their piece, but somehow made it look cohesive and well put together. So I aimed to do that with this one. I wanted lots of decorations, like Christmas baubles, candies, dog treats, flowers, crystals, and beads, and all of that stuff. When I was doing this piece, I remembered simultaneously loving and hating the process of making the line art. I was watching a couple of tutorials on it, and a couple of them were advising me to do one-stroke lines, which I wasn't really accustomed to, and to be honest, looking back, it was probably one of the things that stressed me out about digital painting. What I meant by one-stroke lines is basically drawing each line perfectly with just one stroke. I liked how clean it looked, but at the same time, I hated having to redo a line over and over until I had it perfect. Several months after I made this piece and got really into pixel art, I realized that I really did prefer drawing a line and then just editing it out to the shape that I want, instead of just doing a line and then undoing it and doing it again and undoing it until I got it right. That was insane! One-stroke lines don't always look great in pixel art, so I really had to draw them manually, and I actually enjoyed the process of doing that more than the one-stroke lines. When I get back to digital painting, I'm definitely going to chill out on trying to make the lines perfect and just draw. I know everyone has their own process for doing their art, and the one-stroke lines is definitely something I don't like. I don't care if it's supposed to be faster or more efficient, because if I have to take a bajillion breaks just to finish a drawing because I can't draw the lines perfectly and have to repeat it over and over and over, then it is useless. What's efficient to one person is not necessarily efficient for everyone. Normally, I would do all of the line art first before I do any coloring. But since I haven't had that much practice doing digital painting and I wasn't sure how I would go about doing the shading for this piece, I decided to experiment a little bit with the hat. I thought this rendering style was pretty interesting, but I wasn't completely happy with it, so I changed this later down the line. For the beads, I didn't really want to draw each and every one of them because it was just insane and tedious, so I looked up how to make a brush with a line of beads. Once I figured out how to make one, I created a vector line, then made it in a way that made the inner beads smaller and the outer beads bigger so that there would be a bit of depth in the piece. I've drawn all the elements and completed the final line work, I started putting in the flat colors. There's a specific technique that I use to do it quickly, and for those of you who are interested to learn how, you can check out this video by Baban Illustration. I've put a link down in the description below if you want to see it. Because there are a lot of elements in this artwork, it's easy to make the mistake of adding a whole lot of colors that may not necessarily blend or work together. If you're really good at balancing the colors in a way that it works, even if you put so many in one piece, then go right ahead and do it. But for me, I prefer to pick a limited amount of colors. I like picking colors that feel gentle to the eyes when I'm drawing artwork like this, which is intended to be soft. It also helps to consult a color wheel like Adobe's Color Wheel or a color scheme generator like Coolers if you feel stuck on what colors would work best together. I've put links down in the description for the ones that I use often. I've also chosen to make my lines a dark shade of brown instead of black, so the final product feels even softer. As you can see here, the base colors are not super bright either, but once you put in the shading and highlights, those are definitely going to pop. Once the flat colors have been placed, I've started putting in the shadows and highlights. I think at this point there are probably a couple of you guys who are wondering why one of my art videos ended up in the main channel when I've made a separate art channel. I'm actually going to make a really important video about that later in the beginning of 2022, so watch out for that. But long story short, I'll be putting all of my content in one channel again. I know. It's probably been a really confusing ride to my followers, and I'll be talking about it more in detail next year. One of the things that I adore the most about digital painting is how soft you can make your drawings, especially in shading. I think this part was the part I loved doing the most. I just had to select the object I wanted to shade to make sure the color doesn't bleed out of the lines and just shade it the way I want. Alternatively, I could also just do the shading first, then delete the excess later by selecting the object and deleting it. It's that simple. Digital art is fun that way. It's so much easier to make things look clean compared to traditional art, unless you're like a professional or an expert at what you do. However, with the right brushes, you can easily add more texture to your work and give it more attitude and personality. For this piece, I used a brush pack called Artist 21, which I will also be linking down in the description below. I really like this brush pack because it gives my artwork that texture that feels like something you can get from traditional art mediums like pencils, pastels, and even watercolor. Something that I tend to do a lot when shading for digital painting is putting a layer of the darkest shade and just erasing parts of it instead of using a brush to paint the shading. It just feels like less work for me, and I tend to get the feeling of shading I really want when I do that. As for highlights, I do the opposite and just use a brush for it since I only need to do a small amount compared to shading. Honest, when I saw Shino for the first time, I had a brand new appreciation for Shiba Inus. Back then, I kind of just thought, oh hey, it's the meme dog, it's cute, and all that, and that was it. I didn't realize how gorgeous the color of their fur was, and how they looked exactly like freshly baked bread. And more than anything, I wanted that color to really pop in this piece while simultaneously harmonizing with the rest of the colors. So I picked a shade of brown that was more saturated and a little bit more orange than my reference picture. If any of you guys are interested in buying merch of this design, Khaios currently has a shop open for it and he's selling it as a sticker, a pint glass, and a mug. The link is down at the description. Now that I think about it, it might have been a lot better if I released this video earlier in the month, but I was unfortunately unable to because I wasn't finished with it, because I had a lot of things I needed to do for work. But here it is. Ta-da! This design has actually been released last Christmas, but we didn't really get to advertise it much because Khaios was on his break that time, so we decided to re-release it this year. I don't have that many digital painting pieces to show off since I've always had a bit of difficulty in it, so I was particularly proud of this one. I actually want to do some more digital painting in 2022 because I did genuinely enjoy it, but I get too frustrated when I can't draw certain things right. But of course, if I really want to improve, I'm gonna have to practice. And there you have it, Shino Claws. While I don't really have so much experience with digital painting yet, I hope you learned something or at least enjoyed watching how I made it. If you did, please leave a like, comment what you think, and subscribe for more. And if you want to support me further, check out my Patreon, Ko-fi, Redbubble, or my commissions page on my site. But for now, I'm just gonna go do my thing and you guys do your thing, and I'll see you guys later! Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, everybody. I'll see you in the new year. Take it easy, stay cheesy.